All right. So this is section 5.2, polynomials, linear factors, and zeros. Setting a function equal to 0, f of x equals 0 or y equals 0, finds the places where the function crosses or touches the x-axis. So far, you've only seen pretty much where it crosses the x-axis. Now we've graphed a few where it's touched the x-axis. That counts as well. And we'll kind of get more into that in this worksheet, like the touching part of the x-axis. So it doesn't literally cross it, it touches it. So here's my polynomial, positive and odd. So positive and odd, it's up on the right, down on the left. It increases, decreases, and increases. And we can see here that it crosses 3 times, -2, 0, and -3. I've represented this 2 ways on the graphing calculator, in factored form, where it's all factored out, x plus 2, and x minus 3, and then standard form, x cubed minus x squared minus 6x. So these are the same equation, they're just in different forms. So when I graphed each one of these, it just made one graph and then put the other graph right over the top of it. So these are exactly the same. So if you didn't have these pictures and you didn't know where it crossed algebraically, this is what you would do. You would start off with it in standard form, and then we have the higher power of x cubed, so we can reduce it by an exponent by factoring out x. X times x squared is x cubed, x times negative x is negative x squared, x times this is this. Then this is now a quadratic. The quadratics we factored a whole bunch of times. So these are 3 linear factors. That would make a line, that would make a line, that would make a line if you graphed it by itself. So if I said graph x plus 2, that'd be a line. So that's called a linear factor. If I said graph x minus 3, that's a line. So that's what's called a linear factor. If I said graph y equals x, that's a line. Then we do zero product proper t. We make a t, and we set each factor equal to 0. And we solve, and we get the 3 answers. So the 3 answers match the 3 points where it crosses the x-axis. So that's a summary of what's going on here. Now we're just going to jump in and do some problems. Here's number 1. So I'm going to solve for x. So there's an x in common with each one of these. That's the GCF. So x times something makes this. So it'd be x squared. X times something makes this. 7x. X times something makes this. 10. We drop the x down, then it factors a second time. 2 positives would be 2 positives, and then 2 and 5. 2 and 5 multiplied make 10, 2 and 5 added together make the 7. Then we do zero product proper t. So we got x equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, and x plus 5 equals 0. This is solved already. Subtract 2, x equals -2. Subtract 5, x equals -5. So there's my 3 answers. So here's the 3 problems for this page. If you're at home and you don't have a way to print this off, then what you need to do is just write these down. So you can pause it and write these 3 problems down. So moving along here, these are all pretty much the same. You're taking out a common factor. So you're taking out starting off with standard form, taking out a common factor, writing into its linear factors, and then do zero product proper t. This one looks a little bit different, so let's go through number 2. So we can have an x in common here. So it'd be x squared, and then minus what times this makes this? Oh yeah, 36. The x drops down, we factor like so. It's the difference of 2 perfect squares, correct? One's plus, one's minus. Then we do zero product proper t. So x equals 0 is one of the solutions. We add 6 over, and we get x equals 6 as one of the solutions. We subtract 6 over, and we get x is -6. That's one of the solutions. So there's 3 solutions to this. Okay, you try number 3. So x Okay, so pause the video, take out the common factor, go. All right, x squared, did you write x squared? 7x and 18. So this times this makes this times this makes this times this makes that. Drops the x down, then we factor it again. So you factor it. Go. Six and 3 would be a dead end, right? 6 and 3 would be a dead end because 6 and 3 doesn't make the 7 in the middle. It has to be 9 and 2. Now we do zero product property. So x is 0 is one of the solutions, plus 9, x equals 9, minus 2, x equals negative 2. All right, so there we go. Okay, turning the page. There's a whole bunch of these to do, and let's do one that looks kind of weird. This one here looks kind of weird because it's already factored, but see, it doubled up here. So I'm going to rewrite this as x minus 2, x minus 2, x minus 1, and 0. So there's a double solution. Anytime there's a double solution, the polynomial doesn't cross the x-axis. It's a repeat solution. That's where it's going to be tangent or just touch the x-axis in one place. And I'll show you the graph of this. So it's x minus 2 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0. So I don't have to factor this. I can skip that step. It's already kind of represented in linear factors. Then add 2. X is equal to 2. Add 2. Oops. X is equal to 2. Add 1. X is equal to 1. So it's 2, 2, and 1. So it's not going to cross there, and I'll show it to you right here. I'm going to go to y equals, whoops, turn it on, y equals clear. X minus 2. X minus 2, and then x minus 1. All right, x minus 2, x minus 2, x minus 1, and graph. I don't like that viewing window. Excuse me, it's after school, so Mr. Jackie's tired. I'm going to do zoom decimal, which is number 4. So it's kind of hard to tell even here. I'm going to zoom in on that spot. So I'm going to hit the zoom key in. I'm going to move my cursor kind of over right to there. Zoom in. So it does cross here. It crosses at 1, and that kind of matches up with this. It crosses at 1, but it's tangent. It touches that at one spot. So we say this has a word multiplicity, which means it's a repeat solution. It's a multiple. So my solution is x equals 1, x equals 2 with a multiplicity of 2. So if you look that up in the book in section 5.1, you look it up in the book, you'll see the word multiplicity in there. And it just means that it copies, the solution's copied twice. It's a carbon copy. So 2 happens twice. It also means that 2, it doesn't cross the x-axis, it bounces off the x-axis. So it crosses at 1, it comes up, it goes back down, it bounces off of 2 and then goes up. So that's what we can tell from this right here. All right, so this one here would be x plus 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. So this solution is repeated 3 times. So when it has a multiplicity of 2 or 4 or 6, it's going to bounce off the x-axis. When the multiplicity is odd, because this has the same answer 3 times, it'll actually cross the x-axis. So you can tell that from the graph, but this is a solution that repeats itself 3 times. Okay, so you're going to do this and this and this, and you're going to set each one of those 0, get the same solution 3 times. Here, easy, it's already factored. You got to factor this one. The difference here is like, some of these are a little bit harder to factor. Like for example, number 15, you're not going to take out x, it's all even, so you're going to take out 2x first, right? Then the 2x falls down, then it's going to factor a second time, and then you're going to make the t, right, and get your 3 solutions. So 2x is equal to 0, blah, blah, blah equals 0, and blah, blah, blah equals 0. So that's the signature on that one, is you can take out 2 and x on each one of those. Okay, let's move to the second part of the assignment, which is the writing the equations. So it says write a polynomial in standard form with the given zeros. So this is 100% backwards. We're going to go to the opening page here. So we're going to start off with the 3 solutions. We're going to create the 3 equations. We're going to multiply it all back together into standard form. So we're going to go up the ladder instead of going down the ladder. All right, so here's the first one. If x is equal to 1, negative 1, and 2, that means x equals 1, x equals negative 1, x equals negative 2. So I'm going to make these be equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract this over, so that would be x minus 1. I'm going to add this over, so it would be x plus 1. I'm going to add this over, so it would be x plus 2 equals 0 equals y. So this is what we're doing. We're going to write an equation. Now this is factored form. So if I was to solve this, this would change to this would change to this, and this would change to this. So if I was solving it, it would work. But now I want to multiply it back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore this right here, and I'm going to FOIL this out. First, outside, inside, last. So green first, this times this times this would be x squared 2x. Red next, this times this times this, which is 1x plus 2. All right, so that needs to be multiplied by this x minus 1. So I'm going to collect my like terms first. It's very important that you do that. So now it's x minus 1 times, this is by itself, x squared. These are like terms, right? 1 and 2 make 3x, and then plus 2. Okay, now I'm going to do green again, or red and green again. Well, I'll do green first. So it's going to be this, and times that. So the green is first. So x, this is like fancy distributing. X times each one of those would be x cubed, 3x squared, 2x. Now I'm going to multiply everything by negative 1. Negative 1 times this is negative 1x squared. Negative 1 times this minus 3x. Negative 1 times this, negative 2. So basically it just flipped all the signs. So each one of these is equal to y. Right? And then we get our next answer here. X cubed. Squareds go together. 3 things minus 2. 3 things minus 1. Sorry, 3 things minus 1 thing would be 2. Okay. Negative 3x's and positive 2x's. Negative 3 plus 2 would be negative 1. So negative 1x, or just negative x. And then this by itself drops down. So this is in standard form, right? Okay, so there's the standard form polynomial. So if you went from here, you would factor it to here, and then factor it to here, and then you set each to 0, and you get these 3 answers. So this is backwards of what we were just doing. So we were factored to solve, now we have it solved, and we're going back, multiplying it together to get a standard form. All right, and you know if you did this right or not because you could graph this on your calculator and you would see that it cross or touch the x-axis at those three locations. Okay, number 18. X is 0 just means x, and then x equals -2, you'd add that over, so that'd be x plus 2, and then 1, x equals 1 means x minus 1 equals 0 equals y. So that's the function, or you can use function notation, f of x. Okay, so we bring this down, this drops down. So the first thing I always just kind of cover up, so I'm covering this up, I'm going to multiply these together. Green means go, green's first. So x times x is x squared. X times the minus 1 is -1x. Now red, this times this is 2x. This times this foiling, minus 2. Blue, close the parentheses. All right, collect my like terms always. X squared. Those are your like terms. Two things minus 1 would be one thing, or you could have a 1 or just x minus 2. Okay, now I'm going to distribute. Now this one here I had to distribute green and red. I distribute the x and I distribute the -1. Okay, well this one's way easier because there's only one thing to distribute. So I'll go back to the green, distribute, distribute, distribute. So the answer is x cubed plus x squared minus 2x. And that's equal to y, which is the function. So there's the function in standard form. Standard form, factored form, factored form, standard form, standard form, factored form. Linear factors, okay? So the next page is similar kinds of stuff. The one with all 2's is kind of fun. So we got all 2's, so it'd be x equals 2, x equals 2, x equals 2, so it'd be x minus 2, right? Because you move it over. If you have x equals 2, you subtract it over and you get x minus 2. So it's x minus 2, and x minus 2. Those all get multiplied together to make the function. So you can have fun with this one. Again, write this down, and then you FOIL this out first. So try that. Multiply this together. Go. And here's what you should have written. Green first. So this times this is x squared. This times this is minus 2x. Red second. Negative 2x. This times this is plus 4. So now we're going to put together the like terms, which would be right here. So we have x minus 2, x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 0. Okay, now the green is next, so you're going to do x times these three things, and then you're going to do red times these three things. So green is first. Let me put my equal sign here, equal sign there. Green first. X times this is x cubed. X times this is minus 4x squared. X times this is plus 4x. Now red. This times this is minus 2x squared. This times this is plus 8x. This times this is minus 8. All right, so there's all that. And then we put together our like terms. X cubed, the squareds go together, negative and negative makes bigger negative, so negative 6x squared. The x's go together, 4 and 8 makes 32, and then minus 8. So there's the answer for that one. All right, so I'm going to stop it now. Have fun working on these. I didn't let you write them down to copy them down, but there is the PDF that you can look at. and write down all the problems and then work on them. Okay? You can print it off. You can also print it off, but you can write it down on your own paper. And there we go. Neat and tidy.